friends, welcome back to Tuesday's travel blog, where every Tuesday I hope to post a video that shows the cool places I've been, the things that I've seen, and the awesome people that I've met. Don't forget to click like and come back every Tuesday to get a new adventure. This new video is going to talk about my newest location, Mammoth Cave National Park. I'm currently standing in the campground where I'll be staying for 4 nights, and I'm going to talk about all the fun things that I've done here. Be sure to stay through to the end to watch everything that I'm going to show you about Mammoth Cave National Park. There is so much more to do here at Mammoth Cave National Park than just to tour the caves. But one of the things I decided to do was kayaking. I arrived at Caveland Kayak Company and they welcomed me the minute I even pulled in. After a brief safety talk, they put me into a van and drove me down to the river. I was so fortunate to be the only one booked for this time. Joe driving the van was super pleasant. When we got there, he took the kayak, he put it into the water for me, gave me my paddle, and sent me on my way. I kayaked the Green River. The Green River is a tributary of the Ohio River and it feeds into the Mississippi. It is technically at a lower elevation than the Mammoth Caves and feeds into the caves itself. And part of this trip includes a small cave. But don't get me wrong, I was certainly a little scared to go into this cave, but I knew it needed to be done. Why don't you enjoy this short little video that shows my experience in the cave. Come to find out later, that cave is considered an exit point for the actual Mammoth Caves because Green River flows to the caves, even though it's at a lower elevation than the cave itself. So I was technically in the Mammoth Cave system. This river was fantastic. I floated my way down. I even got out at one of the islands, walked around a little bit, got my feet a little wet. 2.5, maybe almost 3 hours. I'm like, okay, all right, we're almost there. I got about another half hour to go. I look up and I see a sign for mile marker 202. I've got to go to 198. That's 4 miles left. That's about half the trip I have to do in 45 minutes. I took almost 3 hours just to go 3 miles. I was enjoying myself so much. So I started to hard paddle. Figured, oh my gosh, I've got to get there in about 45 minutes. Am I going to make it? I tell you, the hard paddle was not fun. And I just said, you know what? They're just going to have to wait. I was out there for 4 hours just by myself, not another soul in sight, and I couldn't have done better. The trip ends at the Green River Ferry. The Green River Ferry allows cars to pass from one side to the other. When I got there, Joe was waiting for me. I apologized for being late. He was like, no problem. He was like, we know it takes people some time. I'm just glad you were enjoying yourself, and which I absolutely did. This river was stunning. But wait, that's not all. Later that evening, I decided to do a star chamber tour of the caves. What does that mean? That means traveling the caves just by lantern light. This is what it looked like when I was in the caves with no light. This star chamber tour lasts about 1.5 to 2 hours. It's not very strenuous at all. It takes you through the caves at night, tells you a little bit about the history of the caves like you would see during the day. I'm sure the stories are the same during the day as they are at night. Back in the days of consumption, which today is known as tuberculosis, doctors used to think that some clean air and some clean living is the best way to cure it. Not very different from what New York City doctors used to think. They used to send their patients up to the Catskills and say, the mountain air will do you some good. Well, here at Mammoth Caves, they felt, let's send people down into the caves with the purest air that you could possibly have. It's a controlled situation, there's no pollutants, it's great. So they sent 16 people down there to live for 5 months in the caves to help cure their consumption. These people lived down there with no sunlight, no nothing, for 5 months. And the funny thing is, they didn't stop the tours. So if you went on a tour, you would walk by these people who were pale and sick and ghostly, and it was part of the tour. Needless to say, it didn't work. The only really cool thing at night is when you do get to the star chamber, they take the lanterns away and you are completely in darkness. You can't even see the hand in front of your face. It was just an amazing experience. Here, this is what it's like. That's it. Complete darkness. It was fantastic. The caves were so awesome, and I figured I'm not sure I'm ever going to be back here again, so I'm going to do another tour. I'm going to do it during the day. So the following day, I took the Domes and Dripstones tour. The tours do two halves of the caves. Down the center of the cave is the Green River, and they don't have any tours that cross over that river. So they do two halves. So my Star Chamber tour was on one side. So I decided to do a tour on the other side. So this tour has 500 steps, which was enough for me to almost be like, what? But it's 500 steps. It has lots of steep inclines, and they tell you at the beginning of the tour, they're like, this is a tough tour. You know, there's steep inclines, there's stairs, there's tight spaces, spaces that are just as wide as your shoulders, if not less. Have to duck down, and of course, you're high, so looking down is an issue for anybody who may have a fear of heights. And they're telling me about this, and I'm almost sitting there going, maybe I shouldn't go on this tour. I mean, I'm relatively in good condition. I'm out here, I'm doing okay, but even the way they said this, I was almost like a little skeptical myself. And then I look around and I see what other people are wearing. And I could not believe that they would allow people to wear open-toed shoes and flip-flops and everything. And I'm looking at these people going, well, if they can do it, so can I. And I did. So this tour was a little different, a lot different. If you've never been in a cave before, I could say it was probably super cool. Tight passageways, going straight down, going straight up. So you're going down vertical shafts, you're winding around, you see lots of stalagmites that come up, stalactites that come down, and it ends at the frozen Niagara, which is pretty neat to see. However, I think the other side was a lot more impressive. This tour was just, you're at this long line of people, not really much to say from the tour guide himself, because he's all the way up there. A couple of times that you stopped, and he would give some sort of a story. Another one of the neat stories that they tell you, when you go into the caves, you can see up top all these names, and they're kind of written in like a black kind of ash color. So they would say that, back in the early 1900s, when people would come on these tours, and they would say, you would want to write your name up there? Great, here's a candle, that'll be 10 cents. Oh, you can't reach? Here's a stick, that'll be another 20 cents. And so people would take these sticks with a candle, and they would hold it up to the cave of the ceiling, and they would write their name. But of course, when they're doing this, well, what happens? All the wax falls down onto their face. So for an extra quarter, I'll give you a mirror. You can put the mirror down here, then you can look in the mirror, write your name, and you won't have to worry about wax falling on your face. But then what would happen? People would write their name backwards because they're looking in the mirror. Of course, back then, that was, being considered a historical thing. Now it's a federal offense. But if I was to recommend, I would definitely say that you're going to want to stay on the side of the visitor center. I think that area is definitely neater. My visit to Mammoth Cave National Park has been fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better day to be out on the river. I had some fantastic tours. I've met some great people, and I recommend anybody visits Mammoth Cave National Park. Thanks for watching my Tuesday travel blog. Hope you enjoyed traveling with me. See you next Tuesday.